days after he was captured, Pakistani terrorist Ali Babar Patra has exposed the Pakistan Army and the ISI. He's named them in a confession on camera. Ali Babar has confessed that he was recruited by the Pakistan Army and was trained in terror activities by the Pak Army and the ISI. Here's the full highlights of his terror confession.
The face of Pakistan treachery spilling the beans on Pakistan Army's role in unleashing terror in the valley. Listen to 19-year-old Ali Babar's confession on camera on how he was picked up, brainwashed and trained by Pakistani Army and the ISI.
और पाकिस्तानी जो लगे और पाकिस्तानी एक हमारी पूरी पार्टी का थी उन्होंने हिंदुस्तानी आर्मी को फायर किया तो जो हमारे दोस्त साथी जो छोड़ने आए थे लेकिन तो ऊपर के दो रहते भी अंदर आना था वो भी पीछे चार लोग पीछे आने बाकी और हम दो ना और के अंदर पार कर गए थे पाकिस्तानी आर्मी में ट्रेनिंग से पहले जो बात की थी ना ये पैसे मुझे आसान पहले ये सब क्या बाकी पासपोर्ट करने को वीजा लेना था वो पाकिस्तान जो पाकिस्तान आर्मी से वेला और वहां से उसको प्रोग्राम रखा वो मुझे मस्त पेपर में भी उदाहरण दे
इसका हाथ है बोल रहे
ये सारे और ये एक फोर्स है और पे लगी मैं सिंगल मस्त कैसे देख पा सकता हूं मैं शुक्रिया से देगा सकता हूं ट्रेनिंग मुझे कौन देगा अगर किसी की हाथ है अदा है नहीं होता ऐसा कोई कर सकता मुझे सामने से कौन तस्दीक करेगा तो हमने तो प्यार किया रोज प्यार कर रहे हैं हम रोज प्यार किया और रोज प्यार करने के बाद हमें पाकिस्तान के लोग शेयर कर रहे हैं फिर पाकिस्तान है तो ये फैसला किया जी और पाँच महीने से मेरी दो कजर्स दिया और एक किस्म दिया हमने इस्तेमाल किया राशन किया
कौन सी तारीख को आपको बोला गया कि आपको इन्फिल्ट्रेट करना है? 13 को बताया गया.
This is the confession of a Pakistan terrorist that nails the Pakistan Army and the ISI's nefarious designs to disturb peace in the valley. Irrefutable proof that Pakistan cannot deny as its own exposes its terror design. Bureau Report, India Today.
It's a 14-minute confession video that no other channel has. We have the whole thing and we've distilled out all of the essence of what 19-year-old Pakistani terrorist from Okara, Punjab, Ali Babar Patra has said. Let me break down for you the highlights once again of what this Pakistani terrorist had said after he was captured on camera and exposing Pakistan and its state-sponsored terrorism. Confession number 1. Ali Babar says he was recruited and trained by the Pakistan Army and the ISI. He says that multiple times during that interrogation. Confession number 2. On camera, Babar accepts that the Pakistan Army helped him to infiltrate across the LOC into Jammu and Kashmir in the Uri sector. Confession number 3. Babar also says that the Inter-Services Intelligence or ISI of Pakistan is behind anti-India activities, which is a well-known fact. Didn't need him to say that, but he says it nevertheless. Confession number 4. Ali Babar announced that Pakistan provided them with weapons and explosives for these missions. Confession number 5. Babar also said he got an infiltration order from Pakistan on the 13th of September. Confession number 6. He says he got 20,000 rupees after joining the Lashkar-e-Toiba, which is one of the principal terror organizations funded and sponsored by Pakistan against India. Confession number 7. Ali Babar Patra says that his family was to be given 30,000 rupees after his Kashmir mission was completed. So those are the broad things that this 19-year-old infiltration terrorist has said in captivity. He was presented before the media as well, and there were questions asked to him, and he's provided not just broad allegations against Pakistan and the ISI, but also provided many specifics. Privileged to be joined this evening on 5 Live by none other than Lieutenant General Deependra Singh Hooda. He's the former General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Indian Army's Northern Command. He was the Northern Commander during the 2016 post-Uri terror attack surgical strikes, of which today happens to be the 5th anniversary. General Hooda, always an honor, sir. Thank you very much for your time and for being with me on this special day. It's not often that you see a captured terrorist of this kind, sir. One is sometimes used to seeing pictures of this kind of thing, but to see an entire, media interaction where questions were put to him and he's provided, many specific things in and out. What did you overall think of the things he has said, sir? We've listed some of those for you.
So Shiv, firstly, let me say pleasure to be on your program at 5 p.m. I think the broad things that have come out, Shiv, is that we are not really seeing a significant change in attitude from the Pakistan military, as we thought, after the February ceasefire, that maybe there's a change in attitude. Let me step back a bit. Shiv, I was the brigade commander at Uri in 2005-2006. And at that time, we knew that there is training infrastructure for terrorists at Gadi Habibullah camp. We knew there's a Shawai Nala camp of the LET at Muzaffarabad. We knew that in Forward Kahuta, there's an ISI detachment, which does, the final briefing, training, and supply of weapons to terrorists before they are launched into India. 15, 16 years down the line, that terror infrastructure, Shiv, remains completely intact. So what does that tell us? That despite everything that Pakistan has been saying and the Pakistan army has been saying, they have just not dismantled the terror infrastructure, and they continue to do what they're doing.
Is there a way to, sir, this is obviously a professional question. We'll leave the sensitivities out of it. But how does one corroborate, when this terrorist was captured and he was interrogated by the intelligence officials and the army, is there a way of properly corroborating what he's saying? Because one imagines that there is always the possibility of subterfuge, false information, trying to mislead the captors. Is there a way of verifying the things he's saying, sir?
There is, Shiv, because as I said, over the last so many years, we have been getting information, and information not only from intelligence sources about existence of these camps, how they're recruited, the kind of training patterns that they have, but also there have been a large number of terrorists who have surrendered over the years, who've come from, POK, come into India and surrendered.
Yes.
And they have given us tremendous information. What I am telling you about the location of these camps is something that I personally, have interrogated a large number of surrendered terrorists in 2005-06 after the earthquake. We had more than 100 terrorists who had come across from POK.
Yes.
And each one of them has given us the location of these camps, the training patterns, who are the instructors in training, how exactly are they launched. So, I'm immediately relating to what he is saying today. And I have no doubt in my mind, based on corroboration from past sources, from surrendered terrorists, that what he says is absolutely correct.
Absolutely. General Hooda, you were the Northern Commander when, the famous surgical strikes happened. We're not going to talk about the surgical strikes themselves, but my question to you, sir, is, these are complicated operations in a very dangerous part of the world. When a terrorist like this man have been captured, is it possible that the information he provides can be the basis for intelligence that could be the basis for a future strike of that kind? You were talking about the Gadi Habibullah, site, which has been alive and kicking for so long. I'm just talking theoretically. Some of the things he's said, could it perhaps be the basis of some kind of future punitive action?
Absolutely, Shiv. Because as I'm saying, from people like him, like captured terrorists or surrendered terrorists, we had managed to get completely detailed layout of, their camps that are there. What are the number of buildings, where everybody is housed. I mean, it's information like this that, enabled the launch of the Balakot airstrike.
Yes.
It was information like this that enabled us to launch the surgical strike. So I think he's giving very valuable information from a military perspective. Also, a captured terrorist talking like this completely sort of reveals Pak complicity, Pak military's hand. Shiv, just understand one thing. You can't have groups of 6 to 8 terrorists carrying AK-47s coming, bombing along from, Muzaffarabad, coming all the way up to the LEC, up to the line of control.
Yes.
What happens normally is that these people come, they are trained, and they are provided weapons by the ISI very close to the border. You can't have people carrying weapons, starting from, say, Lahore or
Correct.
Islamabad or Muzaffarabad, and coming along with weapons and grenades and, the explosives that they have. So the deep complicity of the ISI and the Pak army in launching these terrorists is very clear to us.
It's very clear, and the images that have come out even before the capture of this terrorist, like you rightly pointed out, General Huda, the large number of Kalashnikov rifles, the grenades, all kinds of survival equipment, all point to a pretty fine-tuned logistics support that's being provided by the Pakistan ISI and the Pakistan Army. Two final questions, as a matter of fact, General. One of them is, a lot of people who've been watching pictures of this terrorist have been wondering, how was he captured alive? Is it because when one hears about infiltration encounters, General, we both know that they usually end in fatalities. The Indian Army has suffered casualties before during infiltration encounters, but most of the time it ends with the terrorists being eliminated. How was this a situation where a terrorist was captured alive? It must have been an extremely risky operation to be able to actually get him alive, sir.
Yeah. For the military, it's extremely risky. I mean, just imagine, and these, as you pointed out, most of these people are, highly radicalized.
Yes.
And that is why every encounter ends, in deaths and injuries also sometimes on our side.
Yes.
So for the Indian Army to have taken the risk, exposed themselves, got this person out to actually capture him, I would say the people on ground, the soldiers, the officers over there, I saw that jar regiment officer. For them, it must have been a choice that is not made very easily.
Yeah, true.
But I think the catch is extremely important, because to be able to produce a live terrorist and to hear his story, I think does more than anything else to, show Pak and the Pak army in whatever light that we need to show it.
And we can be absolutely sure that they've been hanging on to every word and watching. And not only has Ali Babar Patra, spoken in certain generalities, like that the Pakistan ISI is behind all the anti-India activity, or that he got his weapons from them, but he's also provided, very specific coordinates, General, like, phone numbers, the names of his village, things that can be technically verifiable on the ground. Though, I should also remind our viewers that even with someone like Ajmal Amir Kasab, after 26/11, with all that information, you had a country that was continuously in denial. My final question to you, General Huda, is that what happens now? Like you pointed out, the spate of infiltrations, the capture of this terrorist is a clear message that the ceasefire that, was entered into from February is very much of a sort of theoretical nature, because the proxy war and the terror funding and sending terrorists across will continue. How does the army calibrate? Obviously, the army would not have thought that everything is going to be hunky-dory after the ceasefire, sir.
No. So actually, you heard from the military authorities.
Yeah.
Let me just say, Shiv, the ceasefire in some ways is a positive, particularly for the civilian population,
Yes,
which is living along the borders, because the maximum sort of impact and damage to their lives and livelihood takes place on the civil population. So it was a positive, and the army said that we are willing to respect the ceasefire. But they also at that time said that we need to, keep our guard up. We need to make sure that, infiltration doesn't happen, incidents along the line of control don't happen from the Pakistan side. it was completely dependent on Pakistan to ensure that the ceasefire holds. But if they continue to send infiltrators, if they continue to do what they're doing, I'm afraid, the longevity of the ceasefire is in serious doubt.
In serious doubt. On that ominous note, and things are always ominous on the line of control. We wish they weren't, but that's the way it really is. And you've just heard from an officer who served as a brigade commander in Uri, where all of this has happened, and someone who served as the army's northern commander during the surgical strike. So his word really counts on an issue of such sensitivity. Always an honor and always a pleasure, General Huda. Thank you very much for your time and for being with me and answering my questions here on 5 Live. Thank you, sir.